In your reality, time feels linear. Past, present, future. From where I stand, it is not. It fractures. I have watched entire worlds rise from a single decision. In your world, one mind learned to look beyond. Elias, the sharpest intellect your reality ever produced. To cross the multiverse, he created Kai, a bridge between what was and what could have been. Every day, they uncover new realities born from a single question. This is what they discovered most recently.
Have you ever noticed how confusing signs look when you travel? Because every city writes the same idea in different alphabets? Is there any world where that is not the case?
There is a woman walking home now through a city that could be ours, except every shop front, every poster, and every instruction manual reads in the same set of symbols. She glances at a lamppost and reads a maintenance note, exactly as she would read a poem on the other side of the world. Children learn at school with the same basic graphemes, so an engineer in one hemisphere and a farmer in another exchange notes without translating first. She stops in a cafe where the menu lists dishes with names she knows, but written with the same script used by the regional archive. The library stamp on the coffee shop receipt is indistinguishable from the one the National Museum uses 3 continents away. Scientific diagrams, patent excerpts, and recipe annotations share a common linear logic, so tools and techniques migrate along trade routes in months instead of decades. When she pulls up a technical manual on her device, the notation is instantly legible to a colleague in a distant port because the same orthography reduces ambiguity. Newspapers quote philosophers across oceans without waiting for translation. Local dialects remain, but writing builds a bridge that makes knowledge portable at a human scale.
How early did that begin? Where did the first step happen?
It looks like something that began not as conquest, but as convenience. Imagine a coastal hub where merchants from many tongues met. They needed durable records that any scribe could read, not a heavy elite codex. A simplified set of signs, adaptable to different sounds, first appears there. Teachers travel with ledgers. Guilds insist on standard receipts, and a few powerful trading federations require that contracts use that script because courts and warehouses need clarity.
And yet, how do you get entire school systems to accept the same shapes? Democracies replacing old elites? An empire imposing a script could be one path, but the traces in inscriptions and private letters in that timeline show voluntary adoption backed by business incentives and communal schools.
You see glosses written in local tongues, teaching aids that explain how the same symbol can represent a sound cluster in one language and an idea in another. That suggests a deliberate pedagogical technology rather than simple conquest.
Was there a single breakthrough or a series of small shifts?
There was a single, decisive invention, but it required institutions to matter. The invention is a modular phonetic system, a limited set of signs that can be combined to represent syllables and morphemes of many languages without forcing their grammar. That by itself is useful, but what made it global was institutionalization.
The divergence is not merely a glyph redesign, it is the coordination between invention and policy. In that timeline, around the 2nd millennium before the Common Era, a coastal coalition codified a modular phonetic script and created training houses, portable primers, and a trade regime that rewarded its use. They offered reduced tariffs and trusted notarization for documents written in the script. Merchants adopted it because it lowered transaction costs. Scribes taught it because demand paid wages, and libraries copied it because cataloging became efficient.
So the change was both technical and institutional. A modular script plus coordinated incentives and teaching networks. From that point, each century amplifies the effect. In the centuries that follow, administrative practices converge faster. By the classical era, exchanges of astronomical observations and mathematical rules are routine across long distances. In the medieval period, scriptoria and guilds standardized technical diagrams, and when printing appears, it plugs into an already shared orthography, so manuals leap across seas immediately. During the Age of Exploration, navigational charts and ship logs are readable in far ports upon arrival, making maritime collaboration denser and safer. That increases the rate of exchange of plants, tools, and experimental practices. In the early modern scientific revolution, scholars build on a stable notation for quantities and procedures, and collaborations that in our world took decades consolidate far sooner. By the industrial age, multinational manufacturing benefits from a common technical lexicon. Manuals, patents, and safety protocols move across factories with minimal loss. Firms scale knowledge across borders more rapidly, and standards bodies form earlier to govern components and measurements. Today, innovation cycles are compressed. Startups and research labs coordinate across continents as naturally as local teams do in our world. There is less redundancy in rediscovering techniques, and some technologies that required long national consolidations in our timeline appear earlier. Cultural expressions tied to unique scripts evolve differently. Some call that a loss, others a gain. It is a rebalancing of linguistic heritage and shared infrastructure.
If the simple practical goal was to see identical signage in different cities, the divergence we described makes that commonplace. The key is that the change was institutional as much as technical. An adaptable script, plus incentives and teaching networks that made its use economically rational. Over centuries, that scaffolding becomes a shared reading ecology. When you strip it down, a technical choice amplified by policy changes how knowledge moves. A single coordinated decision about how we write can remake the tempo of invention, the structure of markets, and the texture of daily life.
If this wasn't the only timeline you'd like to visit, subscribe.